We have with us here a young person who is going to speak on all that we have seen today. Good to have you join us. Festus Ogun, you have seen all that has played out today. You've seen some of the reports about arrests, about tear gas fired. But let's look at it from 1 year ago up until this point. When you look at all that played out in October last year and today, would you say that we have done anything differently in terms of whether it's policing, involvement of security and security in protest, just generally law enforcement in the country?
Well, the truth is that the situation is getting really worse. And I'm saying this because the ENDSARS struggle itself was a fight for social justice, was a fight for human rights, was a fight against police brutality, intimidation, extrajudicial killing, and harassment. But what we got in return was injustice in return. We still had cases of extrajudicial killing even after the protest. On a daily basis, we get cases of arbitrary arrest, unlawful detention, harassment, and brutality. So when it was about to clock a year that the incident happened at Lekki, and people began to gather to fight, the struggle for our liberty. And the authorities are saying we cannot protest. And I begin to ask myself, is this a democracy? If indeed we are operating a democracy, not even just a democracy, a constitutional democracy, protest is a fundamental right. Now look at the show of shame happening right there in Lekki that happened this morning and is still happening now. Even during period of war, insurrection, I do not think we would have this level of militarization of the streets. You can see the way citizens are being harassed. It is even a shame, a crying shame indeed, for the police officers to be asking citizens to identify themselves. Why should Nigerians be identifying themselves in Nigeria? It is a shame, really. The arrest both of the journalists, concerned citizens, protesters, and mere passerby should not have happened in the first place, if indeed we are in a democracy.
So let me ask you, because if you talk to any police officer right now, what they are going to tell you is, look, the ENDSARS protest was hijacked last year, and we saw how it quickly degenerated when hoodlums took over. And they will tell you that, look, we're trying to ensure that situation doesn't repeat itself. Of course, that is not the reason why people should be arrested arbitrarily. But how best do you think the police could have gone about this? Because you're a lawyer and you're a human rights activist. How do you think the police could have gone about this while protecting the rights of citizens?
The truth is that protest is a fundamental right.
Absolutely.
Whether there are, security concerns or otherwise, it is a human right. Now, when we look at it last year, I do not think the protest was hijacked. The reason I'm saying this is because before the whole, inferno and rages that greeted the aftermath of the protest, you will discover that some hoodlums came in government vehicles. And none of those hoodlums, they were even captured on camera. None of them have been arrested. None of them have been prosecuted till now. So I think if indeed the leadership of our country are committed to putting an end to the issue of police brutality and extrajudicial killing, then they should listen to the overwhelming cries of the people. If the demands of the protesters have been met, why should we have this kind of memorial? But what we are seeing now, the protest that is ongoing all over the country, is a symptom that the demands of the ENDSARS protesters last year are still ripe. We still have them in place today. So instead of intimidating citizens, harassing citizens, extrajudicially killing citizens, the authorities must understand that violence cannot solve the situation on ground. They must understand, as a matter of national urgency, that it is impossible to plant injustice and reap peace. If indeed we want a country that is peaceful, prosperous, and great, we must realize that the place of human rights, the place for respect to dignity of human person must be respected.
All right. So let me state clear. Let me state that this protest is happening in Abuja and some other states as well, not all around the country, but it's happening in significant number of states.
Yes, yes.
I wish we had enough time to talk about how the government should have engaged, but I do have to let you go. Thank you so much for talking to us. Lawyer and human rights activist Festus Ogun.
Thank you very much.